adding the citizenship question to the 2020 census and religious liberties in what's known as the Cross case.
Here to break down how they impact you, Fox News senior judicial analyst and host of Liberty File on Fox Nation, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, welcome.
I just got a call from Justice Kavanaugh, and he's looking to see a picture of
the UFO.
I can't say this with a straight face of the UFOs. Right. He wants to see what they look like.
Have you ever seen video of UFO before?
No, I never have. And I don't know where it's going to go, and I don't know where Jillian got that stuff from. I can't stop thinking about it. Okay, so these are two cases. One involves, and we've talked about this a lot, whether the federal government, that's actually the Department of Commerce, can ask for the citizenship status of everybody that lives in a house. 3 federal court judges have already said no. So the Trump administration has appealed that to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is not ruling on it today. The Supreme Court is likely to announce whether or not it will take the case. If it doesn't take the case, there'll be no census. There'll be no citizenship question on the census. If it takes the case, then they got to wait to print the census forms until after the Supreme Court rules. The earliest would be late October, early November.
What's the argument against it? Why did the judges say no? This isn't.
The argument against it is twofold. One is that the First Amendment, which protects freedom of speech, also protects forced speech. It protects you from being forced to answer a question. Remember that one line from the movies? You have, when the cops arrest somebody, you have a right to remain silent. Well, that is true. You do have a right to remain silent. The government can't make you answer. The other argument against it is people will answer this question untruthfully for fear that they will be deported, and that will result in an undercount, which will produce less federal assistance to the city in which needs it.
Like
that's the other argument.
And keep in mind, too, is you have the right to remain silent, or the freedom of speech should be for Americans. These people aren't an American.
Actually, the freedom of speech is for anybody that interacts with the federal government, whether an American citizen or not. The other issue, and again, this is not a case that the Supreme Court has decided to take, and they're going to announce today whether or not to take it, is whether or not a park in Maryland can have a cross in it, which was erected at the end of World War I with private funds, and then it was taken over by the park eventually to manage. So the property was acquired by private funds. There it is. The cross was built by private funds as a memory of those who lost their lives in World War I. This was literally widows and children with nickels and dimes building this thing in the early 20s.
So this hits close to home because I obviously live in